Hi, I'm Dongxiang. Welcome to Digging into China, where we explore China in depth to review unique perspectives. Today, I'm sharing a big political news story from China, one that got the whole international community paying close attention. Let's start with a report from Xinhua news agency. Their headline reads, Xi Jinping holds phone call with US President Trump. On the evening of November 24th, President Xi Jinping had a phone call with US President Trump. Xi pointed out that last month we held a successful meeting in Busan, South Korea, where we reached many important agreements. That meeting set the course and gave fresh energy to the giant ship of China-US relations as it moves steadily forward, and it sent a positive signal to the world. Since the Busan meeting, China-US relations have been generally stable and improving, which has been widely welcomed by both countries and the international community. The facts once again show that when China and the US cooperate, both benefits, but when we fight, both lose. It's a basic truth that's been proven time and again through practice. Xi laid out China's principled stance on the Taiwan issue, stressing that Taiwan's return to China is a key part of the post-war international order. China and the US once fought shoulder to shoulder against fascism and militarism, and today we should work together to protect the achievements of World War II victory. Trump said that Chairman Xi is a great leader, and his meeting with Chairman Xi in Busan was very pleasant. He completely agrees with Xi's views on the two countries' relationship. Both sides are fully implementing the important agreements from the Busan meeting. China played a vital role in the victory of World War II back then, and the US side understands the importance of the Taiwan issue to China. The two leaders also talked about the Ukraine crisis. That's what the Xinhua reports. Xinhua's report here is straightforward and balanced. No crude language, no clever phrases with deep hidden meanings that hit two birds with one stone. It's just a phone call where they discussed the two things. So how does the US side see this call? Let's take a look at the Wall Street Journal's coverage. You can feel how their angle and tone are completely different. The Wall Street Journal headline is, China's Xi calls Trump in unusual move to discuss Taiwan, Ukraine. Beijing is pushing its position that Taiwan should return to the mainland, while Trump steers the conversation to Ukraine peace talks. In an unusual diplomatic move, Chinese leader Xi Jinping initiated a phone call with President Trump on Monday to discuss Taiwan, a flashpoint that has surged to the forefront in recent days as Japan takes a more assertive stance on the island's autonomy. While Taiwan was Xi's focus, Trump steered the conversation to Ukraine, said people familiar with the matter. As Washington-Kiev peace talks appear to make progress and Trump tries to decisively end Russia's war in Ukraine. The two issues, Taiwan and Ukraine, are sensitive for US-China relations, but they are rarely linked in discussions between the two leaders. Xi made the outreach, people close to Beijing said, turning the high-level communication into a rare diplomatic overture from China. During his call with Trump, Xi said, Taiwan's return to China is an important component of the post-war international order, according to an official account of the conversation by China's state media. In a pointed historical parallel, Xi also asserted that since China and the US fought side by side against fascism and militarism during World War II, they should now work together to safeguard those achievements. The statement indicates that China is grounding its claim over Taiwan in historical treaties, rather than just its own narrative. For his part, Trump affirmed that the US understands the importance of the Taiwan issue to China, Chinese media said. In a social media post Monday, Trump didn't mention Taiwan or the diplomatic crisis between Beijing and Tokyo, an omission that likely will rattle US allies in the region already concerned about wavering American commitment. Trump said he and Xi discussed the war in Ukraine, fentanyl and soybeans, among other things. Trump said he had accepted Xi's invitation to visit Beijing in April, adding that Xi would visit the US later next year. Now, on Chairman Xi's unusual move this week with the phone call, I have 3 thoughts to share with you. First, looking at the opening remarks in the call between Xi and Trump, you can sense that he let slip how the Busan meeting between the two reached a bunch of agreements. And from Xi's wording, China-US relations are in a really good spot right now. Plus, because of that Busan meeting, Xi feels like he has some real influence over Trump, so he picked up the phone to make this call himself. That's why the Wall Street Journal calls it unusual. The CCP usually has Chairman Xi take calls when invited by someone else, but this time he took the rare step of reaching out first. Xi believes that at this particular moment he had some pull with Trump. This is really just a matter of how the two men feel about each other. So is it a wishful thinking on Xi's part, or does he truly believe Trump will give him that respect? We will need to watch and see. Either way, this proactive call reflects some very deep realities in current China-US relations, along with a certain confidence Xi has in his dealings with Trump. Second, that lengthy report from Xinhua on the Chinese side, what did you all make of it? From the Wall Street Journal's take, it seems like he was sending a very clear message to the Americans. This rare call from Xi is what folks in China might call tattling to the big guy overseas. What was he tattling about? He was tattling on Japan, asking Trump to rein in Sanae Takaichi. So how did Xi go about tattling? And what was his grievance? His grievance boils down to this. Taiwan is China's. And why is it China's? Because after World War II ended, Taiwan came back to China. That's a major achievement of the war. If Taiwan isn't China's, it messes up the order that's been in place since World War II. So President Trump, you need to stand up for what's right. Japanese militarism is trying to split Taiwan off from China right now, and you have to do something about it. Now, the act of tattling itself makes sense in a way, because of course he knows Japan has the US backing it up. He's been slamming Sanae Takaichi for over 50 days straight, but the more he slams her, the tougher she gets, and her polls in Japan just keep climbing high. So she thinks, why not go to the boss, see if Trump can lend a hand? That's understandable, and it fits with Xi's level of smarts, no issue there. But the reasons he gives, they make you laugh and cry at the same time. The logic in his reason just doesn't hold up. Nobody could really buy into it. What's the flaw in his tattling logic? Look, he says after World War II, Taiwan went back to China, so why drag up the Taiwan issue now? Bringing up Taiwan's sovereignty now means wrecking the achievements of World War II, and that war is something we fought and won together with the US. Where is the big hole in that logic? Because the current Taiwan, the Republic of China, is the actual victor from World War II, and the Republic of China has never handed itself over to the People's Republic of China. Plus, the overall principle of US-Taiwan policy is a strategic ambiguity. In practice, that means opposing any one-sided changes to the status quo. This year, the US State Department took it a step further with the idea that Taiwan's status is still undecided, like it's one kick away from the goal after World War II. So who gets Taiwan is still up in the air. So Xi's tattling doesn't line up with the facts. After World War II, nobody ever said that Taiwan was handed over to the People's Republic of China. And second, you say we fought and won World War II together with the US? Well, it wasn't the Chinese Communist Party that won that war. So the logic Xi sets up for himself is that Taiwan belonging to the People's Republic of China now is the way to respect the victories and the international order since World War II. If not, it destroys that order. But since World War II, the People's Republic of China hasn't ruled Taiwan for a single day, so you can understand the tattling. But the reasons and the logic behind it are full of contradictions or just plain full of holes. Third, can this phone call from Xi achieve what he hopes for? No way. Where is the problem? The issue is that Xi tells lies at home so often and gets so wrapped up into his own domestic political logic that he ends up believing it himself. Take that big September 3rd military parade he called Victory Day. He lays out this logic where China was both a victim in World War II and a victor. That's one piece. The second is that the Chinese Communist Party was the mainstay of China's war of resistance against Japan. When he talks about the mainstay, he doesn't outright say the CCP was fighting the Japanese head-on, but the subtext is that the Chinese Communist Party led China's resistance against Japan. So the next step in his logic is that the Chinese Communist Party should represent China in sharing the fruits of World War II victory. And then it follows that Taiwan belongs to the People's Republic of China under Chinese Communist Party leadership. That's a fruit of World War II, a major marker of the post-war international order. That whole logical foundation has flaws right from the start. It's shaky from the mainstay part onward. From China winning World War II to the Chinese Communist Party being the mainstay, why does he have to hammer that mainstay point? Because he can never quite connect the People's Republic of China to the Republic of China. How does the People's Republic of China just take over the Republic of China when it never surrendered and its country, name, and international status are still there? Especially since the world's biggest superpower, the US, still recognizes Taiwan's de facto sovereignty. So in the CCP's domestic storytelling, they lean on this mainstay idea. Being the mainstay leads to we led the resistance, so we led the resistance, therefore we get to share in the resistance victories. And now we are representing China, so as a victor in World War II, we naturally take Taiwan over from Japan. But did you actually take it over? Not for a single day. So in the past, the CCP's claims to Taiwan's sovereignty always told this story. Taiwan has been part of China since ancient times. But that since ancient times line got worn out from Mao Zedong to Deng Xiaoping to Jiang Zemin to Hu Jintao. No one buys it anymore. Because if you talk since ancient times, when does ancient start? China got conquered by the Mongols, by the Manchus. When do you even begin counting ancient? Forcing that since ancient times angle lacks backing from current international law or the current international order. So they dropped it. After Xi came to power, he ditched the since ancient time too and started leaning on this World War II victory fruits idea, like we beat Japan so it's ours. But the one that actually beat Japan is the Republic of China government on Taiwan right now, not the CCP. The CCP fools people at home with the talk of being the mainstay, but take that to the international stage and no one believes it. So this tattling phone call from Xi doesn't just fail to solve anything. It lets people see on a deeper level how the CCP twists word or just muddles its logic. Truth is, the CCP has some more reasonable explanations out there, but I don't feel like handing them ideas. I'm sure China has plenty of scholars who can come up with even more reasons, but Xi's gotten hooked on this World War II achievements and the order angle right now, and it's gone off track, way off. It might be the weakest reason of all. But Xi thinks he's smarter than Deng Xiaoping, smarter than Mao Zedong, smarter than Hu Jintao, smarter than Jiang Zemin. You all used since ancient times, so I will use World War II. In reality, this reason plays right into Taiwan's hands. It's the easiest for them to push back on. And using it to argue with the Japanese is the least targeted approach. But Chairman Xi, with his elementary school PhD, sees it this way. So that's how it is. China has all these international affairs experts, Taiwan experts. You all have to step aside and build your explanations of China's Taiwan sovereignty logic around this new story from Chairman Xi. But if this logic can barely convince people inside of China, what chance does it have selling it internationally? Trying to fool Trump? Xi is very confident, very arrogant, but that arrogance is built on ignorance, on a low level of smarts. So this big Tattling call ends up painting an even clearer picture of Chairman Xi's own shortcomings. Thank you so much for watching. If you find this video helpful, please like it or drop a comment below and hit the subscribe button right here. It really helps YouTube suggest my video to others. I'll be back with more content soon. Until then, be well.